Hey guys, we're going to cover the 3 best stretches for hip impingement today, which is pain on the front of your hip. In this exercise series, we're going to demonstrate step-by-step how to do these 3 stretches, and it's something you can probably do on a daily basis if it makes you feel good. Make sure to bookmark this video and come back to it, subscribe, and like the channel. We're going to get right into the exercises now. All right, this is Sarah. She's going to help us out with demonstration of the 3 stretches. This is an RX pad. You don't specifically need this, but you may want something to help with your knees, especially if you have sensitive knees. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say she has sensitive knees.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's show the first stretch. It is a hip flexor stretch that some of you may have already done before. We're going to put our own unique spin on it because we find that this helps people a little bit better. Now, the important thing to realize before we start this is actually hip impingement is typically what we call a flexion intolerant hip. The hip does not like flexion, or so the knee closer to the chest creates the symptoms. And so if this was Sarah's symptomatic side, I don't want her doing this, because as she starts to bring her knee closer to her chest, do a hip hinge, this will increase her symptoms, generally speaking, and come out of it again. And the reason being is because as this thigh approximates into the pelvis, there's a pinch point, okay? So what we're going to do to treat a flexion intolerant hip, like hip impingement, or FAI, is going to be to extend the hip. And in this case, this is her symptomatic hip. Can you show me a hip flexor stretch? There we go. I'll slide out of your view. All right. So the way she's doing it here looks pretty good. What do you feel, Sarah?
I feel a little bit of stretch right here.
Okay, good. And it doesn't recreate your symptoms, right?
No.
Okay, so that's an important note, is that this should not recreate any symptoms whatsoever. If it does, she has to either tinker with the exercise, there's a possibility that it's the wrong diagnosis, or we just have to refine a little bit of parts here. The first thing you can do is go ahead and put your hands at your sides here first, Sarah. Okay, can you put a little bit of pressure into your fingers, like you're going to spread your fingers away from your insides? Okay. Now, I know we're not closed up on you, but can you actually let your fingers win? There you go. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's like she's bringing her finger, like she's squeezing herself. All right. Now, can you use your belly to suck in with that too? Because a lot of people do this hollowing thing. Okay. And so this is incorrect, at least in this scenario. Can you spread your fingers away? Because this helps decompress the spine, it helps align the pelvis, and it helps bring the rim off of the hip joint. Now go ahead and go through the stretch like that. Okay. At any point in time, if you feel like you lose pressure of your guts into your fingers, then I want you to find it again. Okay. The range is less important than the pressure at this point.
Do I breathe while I do this too?
Yeah, I breathe. Do you feel like you're holding your breath?
A little bit, but now I'm breathing.
Okay, as long as you're breathing. If you feel gassed from this, then you've held your breath too long. We're just going to try about probably 10 to 15 reps, and generally her range may change a little bit, and she continues to find more range as long as she keeps pressure. Okay, this is exercise 1. This is just, or stretch 1, this is just going to be general hip extension. Okay, the next thing we can do too is we can emphasize a little bit of internal rotation of the hip by, Sarah, can you push my hand away with your foot even more? How much can you go? There you go, pause right there. Now some people will lose balance when they go too far. Just go short of losing balance, giving that pressure again, and go rock in again. Now you're going to notice that you're going to lose a little bit of range with this. That's okay. We're challenging new range. Okay. This is just greasing up the hip, making it less prone to pressure on the acetabular rim onto the femoral head. Do about 15 reps for me.
Okay.
Your left quad burning yet?
Yes.
Good. That's just a bonus. Now, important to note too is that not a lot of people have bilateral or two-sided hip impingement. If you do, there's a chance that you have something coming from higher up, like the spine, which is not a scary thing either. It's just managed in a slightly different way. Normally, hip impingement happens on a single side. Okay? And it's probably important to note too, things like cam deformities and pinchers don't need to have to necessarily be shaven away to reduce this pain. Managing it with a conservative setting like this is usually best. Okay? All right. Next one we're going to do is, what do you want to do last?
An adductor stretch.
An adductor stretch. Okay. So you may want to still use the thing if you want. Go ahead and show everybody.
So feet out.
Let's go actually scooch back just a tad so everyone can see through the camera here. Right there is good. All right. So go ahead and go through the range if you'd like. Good. Now, does this bother you in any way?
It does not.
Okay. So it's important to note if this bothers you in any way, you should not be doing this, or you need to make some small modifications. All you're doing, if I'm guessing, is you're probably sitting your hips back to the wall, or you're using your elbows to push the floor away from you. Like you're using the elbows to do all the work. So you pull yourself with your elbows and push yourself with your elbows. Okay. Now, if this bothers you, we can tinker a little bit with foot position. Sarah, can you go ahead and turn 90 degrees that way?
This way.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Okay.
All right, set up in the same position. Now, I know you guys are going to not see 100% with this, but hopefully you can get the idea of it. Scooch back to me just a tad. Now, she's got her feet pretty wide in relationship to her knees. Like her knees are here, and she has about this much more distance away from her knee to her ankle to her foot. So if this bothers you, let's just bring the knees or the feet together more. There you go. And do the same exercise. Does this feel okay for you?
Yep.
So the good news is Sarah has a lot of options. She's greasing up the hip into a squatting pattern, just like so. And she's going to go through about 10 to 20 reps. This is normally something that people do on a daily basis. Actually, all three of these exercises are. And this is a way to grease up the hip, decrease the amount of irritation to the front of the hip before you start to implement something like load or exercises which are more sustainable. You can go ahead and stop. Like. Now, if you guys are looking for help with this, just know that these 3 exercises or stretches are just a starting point. All right? It's a really easy way for a lot of people to reduce pain, but reducing pain and restoring function are different things. So if you're looking to improve your body's capacity to do exercises, to do physical activity, to golf, to swim, to run, whatever you want to do, typically it requires reducing pain, but then also restoring function back into the hip, the pelvis, and the core. And so that comes with a different subset of exercises that need to be programmed uniquely to you. If you guys are looking for help with this, we can help. We have virtual and in-person options. We're in Costa Mesa, California. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. See you next time.